Hello everyone. I think mic. Hello everyone. Yes, the mic is now perfect. Let us talk about stand-up uh, calls and how we can use Jira to manage stand-up meetings or calls, whatever you want to call it. Now, if you're using Jira software, especially Scrum based uh, project where you have epics and you have your stories, you have done your estimation, you have done your ranking. So if you're using Jira software for agile based project where you're trying to follow Scrum, in that case, you don't really need anything else, to be honest, not even Confluence if you're trying to run your daily stand up calls. Now, I've seen people basically making notes when they do a stand up call, and I don't really see the point, to be honest, why there is a need to make notes. I mean, I'm not against it, but let us say you're a Scrum Master, right? Now, in a typical Scrum, or I mean, because I'm trying to, because when people say they're trying to follow agile or they are fully agile or they are moving towards agile implementation, they, uh, they never really do things by book, which is fine because it is not always possible to follow agile methodologies as it is. Now, let us say you are a Scrum Master, and as part of your responsibility when you do a daily Scrum call, you have a team of, let us say, six uh, members in your team. I'm not really calling them developers or whatever. They are basically members, right? And you ask them one by one that, okay, Ravi, what did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? Anything blocking you? Is there anything that I can help you with? Now, usually people will say, I mean, few things can happen. Let us say if I'm a member of that particular agile team, I would say that yes, everything is fine. I'm working on my activities. I have these stories assigned to me. I can deliver them. Not a problem. So everything is on track because this is me as a developer telling my Scrum Master that if I have, let us say, 4 stories assigned to me which I need to deliver in this particular sprint, and I'm maybe done or resolved 2 of them, then of course everything is good. So based on my feedback, everything is on track. So nothing is wrong. At the same time, nothing is blocking me, and I don't really need any help from anyone else. So I'm basically talking about my stories that are assigned to me, where most likely there was some kind of estimation. So if you are a Scrum Master, you would probably open a burn down chart, right? And if you're looking at a burn down chart as a whole, because when you're working now in a Scrum team, you are not focused on just one person, you're focused on the whole team, right, as a whole, because that is the whole idea of agile or Scrum, where if you commit as a team to deliver, let us say, these 20 stories with 35 story points in the next 2 weeks, then you're going to deliver it. Not just one person or maybe 2 developers or 3 developers are responsible for it. You all of them are equally responsible for it. Of course, some of them are focused on their stories, but you should try to solve this problem together. Now, if let us say things, if you're a Scrum Master, of course you will keep this burn down chart open. And I'm talking about no other app, by the way. So if you open the burn down chart, usually there is a list of all the activities, like what is happening in a particular sprint. Now you would see on a day by day basis that yes, the actual line is following the baseline. If it is not following the baseline, then of course you will be able to pinpoint it, or you can actually take some action. And you should try to, if you're a Scrum Master or a project manager, you should try to match what your developers are saying with that particular burn down chart, because it will give you the opportunity to also make sure that people are actually updating Jira. So if I say that yes, I have delivered this particular story, right, I've committed my code, everything is great, look at the list of items in the table, because right below the burn down chart you can see that yes, 5 story points were indeed burned, and as you can also see the actual line. If you're using EasyBI, you can also build a customized EasyBI burn down chart or burn up chart, which actually helps a lot, because you can then maybe further navigate. I mean, in your Easy BI report, you can also add one more filter for your assignee, or maybe you can display the assignee somewhere. Maybe look at the swim lane. So burn down is of course one consolidated view, but you can always look at, or just open your normal not Kanban, but those columns, right? And if something is, so this is, we're talking about where everything is fine, like nothing is blocking me, I'm on track, and I'm doing my work. But if something is bothering me, then your team members should raise it without any hesitation. You should basically encourage them. If let us say 2 days before the end of the sprint they start complaining about something, then it is of course not a good sign. So you should actually encourage them to be open about their progress, and if they think something can go wrong, they should raise it, they should flag it. And yes, there is a flagging feature in the board itself, so you can flag those individual items or maybe cards, basically stories or any issue, and you can then of course maybe work on them. If something is blocking them, right, then of course use a status like blocked, right? So you can always have one status in your Agile Scrum based project for your stories, maybe blocked. If something is blocking them, then of course it is a problem, and this should be highlighted separately. You should have like a separate list of maybe a filter somewhere on a dashboard, or highlight your blocked items in a separate column, and you should take some action. If maybe you're not really able to, let us say if something is blocked, right? Let us say today is third day of a sprint. Now you can possibly use something like maybe a due date or some other way to ensure that if something is blocking them, ask them by when they need this blocked item to be unblocked, otherwise they won't be able to deliver it. So if you want, you can also manage the risk here, and you can maybe use some custom fields, right? I talked about risk management. So this is of course something that you can straight away do within the issues. You can make separate notes, but I don't really see the point, because it's like duplicating the information and nobody refers back to those notes again. Let us say you are making notes like in every Scrum call you're making notes. What is the point, right? Make notes if you are maybe trying to, I mean, first of all, the whole idea of Scrum call is you just have 2 minutes, and your developers, your testers, your team members, whatever their role is, they should make sure that when they come to the Scrum call, the items should be up to date in Jira. So if something is blocked, don't either do it straight away while you're on the call, or ask your team members to make sure that Jira should be up to date. Otherwise, what is the point of doing these updates later on, maybe 2 days before the sprint closure? So I don't really think you should be spending, I think if you're trying to follow Agile by book, or at least if you're trying to follow it closely, I like the idea of stand-up calls, because it's like a short call, because sometimes the people start with 15 minutes and they keep on going for like maybe another half an hour or 1 hour, which is really, I mean, imagine 8 hours per day. Nobody works for 8 hours. I mean, of course, we have 1 hour lunch, and then of course, a bit of time for, office gossip, or even if you're working online, you need some time, like your own time. I don't really think anyone works more than 4, 5, maximum 6 hours. But if you spend like 1 hour on stand-up call and maybe a few other hours on your other unnecessary meetings that are not really adding any value, then you are actually wasting time. You're actually burning money. So I don't really think there is a need to use any other additional tool to capture notes, or maybe to capture these meeting minutes. You can use a conference page or whatever tool that you have. There are some apps that can also be used for this note taking, I guess, like, or running your stand-up calls, where everyone can basically input their updates. But you don't need to be honest. You can just use Jira. Just update your Jira issues, right? That is how you report on things. You are not really going to report on your meeting notes, right? You're going to report on your stand-up or the issues that are in your sprint that you're anyways going to discuss every day within 2 minutes per member. So that is all I wanted to talk about today in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new. Bye bye.